Hi everyone. I'm Isabel, and I'm one of the GSoC admins within ETB.org open source. And I'm one of the mentors for Maya Tracy for the Bridging Tech project. So now we're going to hear her demo. You can start now. Maya.
Thank you, Isabel. Welcome, everyone. My name is Maya Tracy, and today I'm going to do a final presentation for Bridging Tech application as part of my GSoC requirement. So, about me. Oops, sorry. I'm a newcomer in the IT field. This is, for me, is a career change because I have previous background in accounting and teaching. I'm currently studying Master of IT at Monash University, Melbourne, Australia. To tell you a little bit about my background, how I ended up in GSoC and working on this project. I'm at my last year of uni, so I wanted to get some hands-on experience on a real-life project. That's how I actually started applying to internships, and even tried an entry-level position, but had no luck in getting one. One rejected me because I'm overqualified since they look at my prior experience, even though it's not in IT. The other one told me that I don't have enough experience in the area that they're looking for, and that's for IT. Yeah, even though I'm applying for internship or entry level position, apparently you have to still have experience. It's a thing nowadays. I think that you have to have enough experience even before you graduated. Right. So from there, I thought that I need to look for a way to get this hands-on experience without having to be hired by organization. That's how I started looking at open source program. My first open source contribution was to Microsoft VS Code Wiki. It's a minor contribution, really. I told them that they have inconsistency in their documentation. And to my surprise, they actually take it on board. They accepted my PR and merged it. I was so excited because can't believe it. I just made contribution to Microsoft. Wow, it felt so good. I won't forget that feeling. So after that, I started looking around for another open source program. Then I came across Anita B. I was impressed with its mission to empower women in IT, and I especially excited when I found mentorship system. Perhaps because of that experience I had before looking for internship position, I know how difficult it is to find that opportunity. So if I want to have that hands-on learning, I want to see more of that hands-on learning. I said to myself that I have to contribute to this program. I have to help make it happen. Now, who are the people in my team? In our team, we have Ranit, Mina, and Fong as mentors, and we also have Isabel, who is the project manager. We meet once a week for the project meeting, once a week to bi-weekly for one-to-one meeting, and occasional catch-up sessions as needed. Uh, Mentors also have their office hours where everyone, not just students, can actually come and talk about anything, not just BIT, can be about other project. And we actually have countless communications on Zulip. About the project. Looking at this picture, you can actually quickly grab what the Bridge in Tech is all about. Basically, it's an application that allows organization, mentor, and mentee to actively collaborate through mentoring program. Coming back to my experience looking for internship before, I could feel that there is a gap in the industry between the expectation from employers on the technical skills that the job applicant should have, even for an entry-level position. Come on, really, for real, IT is a fast-paced industry, right? So things change rapidly. It's not strange that after students finish school, some things that they've learned at school already irrelevant, obsolete. So since that there is this lack of opportunity on the hands-on learning while studying, that's why I think that gap about the skills that the students learn at school to the skill that the industry is looking for is like the big difference there. All right, let's talk more about the project in details. The mentorship bridge in tech is actually using mentorship relations and tasks in a program that is handled by mentorship system application. So it's sort of like both independently being developed at the moment, but BIT to some extent actually using or relying on the mentorship system application. Now, the goal of this project, it helps the closing the tech skill gaps in the industry, as I mentioned before, and it also gives opportunity, um, empowerment to people, and then equity. I will explain this later. The target audience, as you can see in the picture that I showed you before, are the organizations, IT professionals, and anyone in the early stage of IT. So, what would the Bridge in Tech bring to the community? If you are organization, you will have the chance to get the skill sets that you need to do the job. This is done by specifying the target skills that your organization is looking for on the program that you will offer on Bridge in Tech. You would also have the chance to see the true potential of your future employee. So don't just make that recruitment decision based on what you people have on their resume, but look deeper. Give that person a chance to prove themselves on the mentoring program. As an organization, you would also have the chance to keep a project moving forward. Imagine if you have a blocker in your project and then no one in your organization has the know-how to do the job. You could offer a mentoring program to IT professionals who can apply to be the mentor for the program. And the mentee can be someone from your existing employee or someone from outside the organization. As mentor or mentee, you have the chance to gain more experience, as well as open up a chance for a career advancement. You will have that chance to upskill to match the skill sets that the industry needs. So again, I will put emphasis that industry perspective in this. Bridging tech will help close the skills gap. It promotes equity, giving equal opportunity for everyone. Why do I say that? Because it allows organization to specifying the target candidate who are considered to be the minority in the industry, either because of their gender, race, age, sexual orientation, physical mental ability, education, work experience, socioeconomic, and religion. Long list, right? Um, if you are an academic institution, you can use BIT as a chance to give your students a hands-on learning experience that matches to the unit that they are studying. So in short, Bridging Tech is all about opportunity, empowerment, and equity. Let's see what's the tech stack of Bridging Tech. At the back end, we have Python, Flask, SQL, Alchemy framework, and we also use PostgreSQL as database. At the front end, we have React.js web application that uses functional components instead of class-based components as the code. And we also use the hooks, context, and a library such as React Testing Library, the mock service worker for the mocking API calls, and the JS cookie. We started the project with the boilerplate from Create React App. If you're interested to look at our repositories, we have GitHub link over here that you can go to. Let's talk about the app architecture of Bridging Tech now. It is actually pretty challenging and complex architecture because we have two different applications that actually involve in Bridging Tech that are being independently developed at the moment. With Bridging Tech using mentorship system to handle mentorship relations and the task of the program. As you can see here, we have a web server of Bridging Tech where the client is accessing the UI from. And it also has the two REST APIs, the BIT and MS API. But you notice that only BIT REST API that is phrasing the front end. Both BIT and MS backend are connected to one database, but you can see that there are two different schemas with the line specifically showing the separation of who can access which schemas. This design means that MS is responsibility for functionalities related to users, mentorship systems, relations, and tasks, whereas the BIT is responsible for anything related to organizations, programs, and users or mentorships relations that are not part of the mentorship system schemas, that those information of the users and mentorship systems only specific to BIT. So with this, it gives constraint to BIT backend. It means like a BIT has no way to access, or not allowed, if I have to state it clearly, not allowed to access the MS tables directly, but it has to make requests to MS API. Um, this is including for authentication specific mechanism, because user, which is the responsibility of MS, uh, has the mechanism for authentication. Now that challenge we will talk in the later part of the presentation. As for the MVP, this is the target of MVP on GSoC. We aim for the project to have the homepage or the landing page. The user should be able to register and log in. We will aim for member organization portfolio, which is list of programs that organization has or member has. We also aim for a program profile and list of organizations and programs as well as members. We want user to also be able to create a profile, and if they are representing organization, they should be able to create an organization profile, which later then allow them to create a program for that organization. We also want the member to be able to send application to the program if they are interested to be a mentor or a mentee. Now, please note that mentorship and mentor and mentee relationship will be managed by mentorship relations or mentorship system. Um, so, um, but we still want to be able to see the progress of these mentorship relations in BIT. As the proposed timeline, on the first phase, we are aiming for all the view, homepage, register, login, and list of organizations, programs, and members to be completed. And on the second phase, we are aiming to complete the view, create, update for user profile, organization profile, and program profile. Then we also aim for the second phase to finish send the application to the program. At the final phase, initially, we are aiming to only do the wrapping up, which is the unit integration, system integration, writing unit test, and the demo. As you can see, I put on the legend that writing unit test at the moment still most of it already done, but especially on the back end, only one left to do of the one deliverables that already completed. But on the front end, we still have a lot to catch up. And the send application to program, not we have to push it to post GSoC because it is still the pending task. The phase one deliverables. Completed deliverables at this stage is the user register functionality and its endpoints. The reason why this there's not many endpoints that I was able to complete it at this stage is because this is the stage where the groundwork for this project is needs to be done or was done actually. And since this is also my new experience, my first experience in real life project. I have lots of learnings to get to do at this stage. That's why I should have calculated well in my proposed timeline. But other than endpoints and user functionalities, I actually completed the backend Swagger UI documentation. I was able to modify MS code for specific to BIT, and I was able to deploy BIT and MS backend live servers to Heroku, and connecting BIT and MS backend to one database as planned before in the app architecture. The stretch goals on this one, these functionalities of register and login, like showing hiding password, matching password, and resend email verification, we push it to the future feature because this is something that not really part of the main important part of the functionality. And on the phase two, we completed these deliverables, which are the endpoints for user login, view and update users' personal details, information, additional informations and background, as well as the members list and other member details, plus the organization profile and its endpoints. These things are pending and we push it to the final phase. This is the um, user profile for testing on the front end and the organization UI, and also the program back end and front end both. And I said before, send an application API. Unfortunately, you can see it's on final phase. We weren't able to complete that last one. Now, uh, with the final phase, we completed almost all of the MVP target. Um, so everything with related to programs and organizations, users, all finish. Users actually finish in phase two. And other tasks that are also completed in final phase is deploying the IT web to Heroku. Now, the pending list that we still have on our list here is the function for sending application. So when user wants to be a mentor or a mentee, that still need to be worked about. Um, Now we're going for the demo. Before we go to the demo, I want to say that if at the moment our focus is not on the design, so you will have very minimalist and simplistic design on the front end. That's because this project is we have to start this project from scratch. So lots of groundwork needs to be done from the project architecture, database model, data access layer to the service layer with the API endpoints, and then the front end UI to consume that endpoints. So we try to do as much as functionality as possible. That's the design can be something that we can improve later post GSoC. Okay, let's do the demo now. Sorry, I have to refresh this first because I already started and tested before this stream. Now, this is the back end. At the back end, as you can see here, we have endpoints for users, including login and register. Like I said before, most of these endpoints using the actual features already in mentorship system. So these are the ones that making the calls to the internal calls to MS API. And then we also have organization here also including programs. Um, with this programs list, we actually have to also make another internal call to MS backend. But at the moment, we just go ahead with, we will show you how the login will look like just by showing the existing user. I'm not going to show the register and every other creation or updating because that can be done on the front end. It's much faster there. And here we get the token after we log in, which we can use to get to do the next process that we want to do. For example, here I'm going to get the users list, and by giving the token, and then you can see the list of users in that I already prepared in the database. And if we want to see the organization, we can pass in the same token. If I don't give any other information on the organization, that means that this is my own, this user is a representative of that organization, as you can see here. That's why we only make, we don't have to specify which organization. Right, let's move on to the front end now. So let's start fresh. Let's give a character to our user. Let's say my daughter finishing high school and then wanting to start looking for opportunity to get some training or mentorship, mentoring. And then she's interested, and I told her about this BIT, and I said, go ahead, go with that. Try, give it a try. Who knows, you will find a program that you'll be interested in and can learn from it. So she registered. That's not her actual name, by the way. And then we can just say the email here. Oh. And she has to declare whether she wants to be a mentor or mentee. Obviously, for her case, she's a mentee. And we need to accept, she needs to accept this term and condition before she can sign up. So I will now confirm the email. I don't have to show the screen to confirm the email. I will just have to do that on the other window, and then the email is confirmed. Right. We go back to our front end. Now they are login. The first thing she would see probably, she probably would like to see the members. Now this is the landing page, by the way, which is under the home page. At the moment, we leave it minimalist, and later, as part of future improvement, we can add content to this. But if she wants to see the list of the members, just in case her friends there probably, or maybe there is some companies there that she's interested. Oh no, this is not company. This is just an individual. So she could see, oh, my mom is there. All right, so that's me. And she could see the details of that person. And then she said, okay, let's have a look at the organization. Who are the companies that they have here? So who can I see? Who can actually, okay, this is my mom's company, a pretend one. And then she probably say, okay, let's give it a try. Now, if you notice, this date is viewed in the GMT as a default because Dea has not given her information on her time zone. So let's see first if she's interested in a program. When she's browsing, she can see the program and then she can see the program details. Now, the items that are pending, one of them is the send application, which should be a button over here that link to that says send or apply to this program, and then it will give you the user an opportunity to fill in the form and to be linked, or the request will be sent to that program. Now, let's fix that time zone. Now, Dea will see that this is her details that she gave on the registration. At the time, it's still blank because these other fields are not given at the registration form. But this is not our concern at the moment. We want to check, we want to change the time zone. We're going to give the time zone of Dea as Australia. Then we'll just find Australia somewhere here. And then Dea is at the moment not an organization representative. She just finished high school. So now she will look at it and say, okay, let's have a look at that organization again. And maybe look at the program. Now you can see that the time zone is changed to Dea's time zone. Now, if Dea wants to see, oh, I have organization. No, she's not, because she has not declared that she's representing organization. So then we'll see. This because Dea's intention to GIT is to get a mentorship, to get into the mentorship program. She could actually say, okay, I want to declare my personal background because I want the program to match my background to if they have a target candidate. So let's just say that one, the only one that she wants to declare. Okay. Now, let's say this is about the Dea now. So she finished with this. Up to this stage, the project actually only have this for users because we don't have an application. We can log out and log in as different user. I will log in now as a user that I already have in the system. That sorry, I have to check which one that have no. I have one that has no. No organization, but let's just create one. Okay, let's name this user now. Okay, this is an organization user. We call this user Brian Smith. And this user will create an organization as soon as he join in. Oops, sorry. Now he will be the mentor as well. He will be available as a mentor. Oh, sorry, Brian, you exist already. All right, so let's say, Brian, this is, I know, haven't existed yet. Okay, right, and then we go to that email again to verify. Now, and login. And he just goes straight to creating an organization. not declared additional information on the time zone, just Africa. And then I'm organization representative. Now he will be allowed to declare, create an organization. Sorry. Now let's create one. We don't have to fill all of that information, and we can actually leave this time zone on this side because it doesn't really, this will not be determinant on the default. The form will scream to whichever one that we need to fill, so we don't have to worry about filling in everything. Of course, organization have to have a website. Oh, and a phone. Yeah. Okay. Now Brian wants to make sure that his organization is in the list, and it is. And if you want, he wants to know the program is not there. Brian will now create a program. And then the date of that program will start. Oh, yeah, will start September, whichever date. And for the end date, remember we have tightly coupled constraint with mentorship. So that means we have to have at least 4 weeks. And if we want to say this is and target skills, let's do Python. Oh, Brian will take female in the organization. Now, the amount organization is not obligated to do any or give any financial benefit. But let's say Brian is generous with his program, so he will give 3,000, and the amount will be US dollars. Thanks. And now for the program to be able to be viewed. Okay, again, we need that. Yeah, just contact me. Brian said. And website, suppose font field is missing. Yep. All right, now we have a program. If Brian going to look to his programs, he will see that program. That's it for our demo, because that's where we are up to with Bridging Tech. Now we're going to talk about the challenges. As I mentioned before in the challenges, the project architecture and database design is a bit complex. This means that we have lots of time spent for planning at the beginning of this project, because we have to go in depth into data normalization analysis and finding the database type, which one is more suitable to fit these multiple schemas. And we ended up decided with the PostgreSQL. And we also have some challenges in the testing, because the Travis API will not accept the call to make to outside when it's the PR being built. So we have to mock the API request, both back end and front end. And since we are tightly coupled with MS development, this means that the IT need to adjust to existing features of authentication and request response for users and mentorship relations. As the impact, we have to actually run our own version of MS as a backend server. This also means that we need to keep up with MS repository and continuously checking for any new updates on the mentorship system development branch. But any new update cannot be blindly pulled to the MS for BIT version, because we have to check that, make sure that it doesn't break BIT. So Another challenges we have is the that we push to Icebox is authentication issues, because at the moment the authentication is kept by as cookies at BIT from the MS token given when we log in. But the problem is on the remote environment with multiple users, that is going to be challenging. The next user login, the user cookie will disappear and the previous user will be kicked out. And we have a remote deployment issue because the only option available for students at the moment is the Heroku free dynos. Unfortunately, BIT uses multiple servers that the free dynos cannot handle, because free dynos has scaling limitations that only one dyno can run at a time per process type, and it can only have a maximum of 2 apps running concurrently. This is our type of architecture that we push to Heroku. As you can see, we have two servers that using the same process types, which is the WebG Unicorn, that is the Bridge and Tag backend, and the mentorship backend. This is why only one of them can run at a time. That's how it's impossible to get the system integration. And the other point that made by Heroku, that a maximum of 2 apps can run concurrently. We have 3 apps on FreeDyno, so that's impossible because only 2 can run. And as part of the difficulties with the Heroku Postgre, hobby dev Postgre can only cope with 1 gig data size, which is impossible for us because if we have multiple users, 1 gig is nothing. So we have other challenges as well in this project. As part of my personal challenges, obviously I'm a newcomer and I have a limited knowledge on the frameworks. So I have to open up for lots of learnings happening. And I'm also new open source. And I'm a mature age student and have family responsibilities. So I have to balance that life and work commitment. On the team challenges, all team comes from different location around the globe, so time is an issue, and it's difficult to find the availabilities because everyone has their own commitment, work commitment, and life commitment. And as part of time management challenges, that keeping up with documentation as part of GSoC requirement also pose as a constraint in the time management. However, I have to put emphasis on the importance of documentation. Even though I put this time as time management challenges, I will not take this away at the time. Documentation is very important, not only for GSoC purposes, but for any other projects. So we just have to fit it in the schedule. It's a must. Now, regardless of those challenges, from GSoC, I gained many new skills, not only in technical area, but also in teamwork and project workflow. On the team level, although it's a smaller scale, working in Bridge and Tech project in GSoC helped me experience that developer's life in organization settings. I've learned about how to maintain communication and collaboration through remote settings, and I've learned on how to resolve conflict and be respectful and productive still at all time. How to keep productivity going regardless facing a blocker in the project. In terms of technical skills, I've learned a lot in Python and React, which are the two main frameworks that used in backend and front end in this BIT. The link given here are link to my personal blog during GSoC. So you can actually click on it if the file will be available on my final report that is posted on the GSoC project final evaluation. It's available online. so you can go and check it out. Uh, I also here learned about Git, my understanding about the workflow of how managing a clean Git during um, this push. Many many PRs that we worked on, and how to make sure that everything is done properly and not on top of each other or in reverse um, order. So thanks to Git pull rebase, I managed to do that. And as I mentioned before, in Hiraku, I also learned about the challenge on the multiple servers deployment. Now, the future development opportunities on this project are huge. As you can see that there are many places where the design can be improved, and also the homepage contents can be added. We also can add calendar events to the homepage or portfolio page of organization or members. And we can also use industry or organization demographic, which can show how Bridge Intech successfully promote the equity to the people in the minority category of the industry. We can also have the award board that shows the top 5 or top 10, depending with the decision later, of the organization that highly promoted, that actively promoting this equity. We can also have a blog space that help people sharing their learnings throughout the mentoring program. As for feedback highlights, people in the team can actually give endorsement to each other about the achievement that the person or the member done as a mentor or as a mentee. And on maps, we can actually show the locations of members and organizations. We can also add a program comment box on the program profile where users can actually interact with organization and ask more details, information about the program. We can add analytics where we can show the statistic of the skills that most needed or most popular in the at a particular time based on the mentoring program target skills. And we can also extend the front end to other platforms such as an iOS and Android. So the takeaways. If I can give suggestions on the future GSoC program, I would suggest that the team members need to be onboarded before community bonding. It's important because everyone needs to get to know each other. It's good to know how they make their decision, and we can talk about everything about the project, the planning from the beginning. So everyone will be on the same board, and we can decide on technical stack as early possible. The technical stack is very important. So if we know what it is, it's student can start searching for resources as early as possible. If I can actually redo my planning, I will start with more realistic and simplistic approach of MVP, considering all the other, all the other potential issues or tasks that I need to do. So it's not just about MVP, but what other things happening around putting the groundwork ready, like setting the backup on how big that groundwork need to be done. So and the MVP itself, the complexity of it. And I will consider development approach when designing sprints. Parallel development is important because without that, I would probably have lots of feature creeps because at the back, if I do it in separation, back end and front end, I probably will chase the impossible features that might not be needed in the other side of development. Um, and another thing is that it would be great. Thank you. I will be quick. I just got a reminder that time is almost done. Yeah, the final note is it will be great if we can get support for application deployment. Overall, this has been an awesome journey. I've learned so much from GSoC, not only about the frameworks and the tech tools, but also about the open source teamwork and project workflow. I'm really grateful to my mentors and admin that have supported me throughout this journey. And I especially love how the mentors always give me the chance to learn new technical skills whenever the opportunity arises. And I'm very thankful for how they are very patient and always keep an open mind in our discussions. It makes all conflict resolutions easy. Piece of cake. And finally, I would like to thank Anita B and AnitaB.org, open source, and Google to allow me to learn from the open source through GSoC. Look forward to continue contributing to Anita B open source, and I'm proud of being this wonderful community. Thank you. Any questions?
We have some amazing presentation, Maya. Just have to
Thank
say.
you. Thank you.
Uh, there's a there's a chat question from YouTube, which is login with mentorship system instead of creating a new account possible later?
Ah, yeah, that's an interesting point. We could actually see, put that in mind. We could actually discuss that. However, with the fact that well, mental bridging tech actually keeping the main information on the organization. For example, like this user is having like is a representative of an organization, and that data need to be kept in place in bridging tech because unless we want to modify something at the MS, then it's thinking of yeah. So that's an interesting question actually. That's one of the things that we still discussing as icebox because of the cookie problem. If log in to mentorship instead of creating new account for user possible, uh, let me will go back to that a bit later. Well, at the moment, I think it's possible, but depends on how flexible both mentorship and bridging tech to be modified if needed in terms of the schema.
Okay. Um, yeah, again, it's an interesting question. Thank you for the question. I
Yes,
have a
thank you.
question for you.
Yeah.
Uh, do you have some tips that you would like to give to future GSoC students? GSoC.
Yeah. Yes, yes, thank you. I do actually. Yeah, so, okay. Here's the thing GSOC can be very challenging, right? Um, but I would say if you prepare yourself to be to be having the hectic schedule ahead of time, then you make sure that you prepare that starting from you writing your proposal and then to the evaluation phase. You have to make sure that during GSOC you have no other commitment, and that's very important. If you think like you might not be able to spend that time, then think again. Maybe apply next time when you're not that busy. And to manage your time well, and also make sure you still have the balance between work and life to avoid feeling burnt out. And please do keep good documentation because it's important. I know I said to myself that it's challenging, but it is very important not just for the program, but also for other contributors to see later on if even if for yourself, if you have a blocker somewhere and want to have a point of reference, you can go back and look at your documentation. If you're documenting everything, then you can see what or how you it something leads you to that blockers, perhaps, you know. And be proactive and maintain open communication with the other team members, like your mentors or your admin. Don't just stay silent if you're stuck. Just ask away, you know, like don't be shy. And importantly, be respectful all the time, especially if there are some conflicts. It's not about you, it's about the project, it's about the team and the organization or community you're working with. Just be open to learn new things as well. Like if you're bound with limited time, even, you know, if there is opportunity to learn new skills, just go with it, you know, like but do put your times put the time box for it. Like don't try to chase the impossible. If it's too hard, it's too complex, or just maybe don't simply don't suit the project, just let it go. But do give it a try, because there's probably no chance like this ever happen later, you know, after GSoC. That's it, I think. That's
Okay,
my
that's
tips.
a lot of tips, and I really, really
Sorry.
like your point about documentation. I yeah, that's an awesome point to tell to future GSOC aspirants.
Thank
Um,
you.
okay, so does anyone have any other question? I'll
Oh,
wait like
Yeah,
some
I
seconds.
have one.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, I would like if so. I think there was a point in the presentation about how you managed to parallelly develop for the back end and the front end.
Yeah.
I would like if you could share how you managed it. Like for example, say for one of the functionalities, how did you manage to do with the back end and the front end?
Yes. So, for to give you an example, normally what we do in our task is to start with the back end endpoints, where the because the front end need to consume these endpoints. So I give you an example, like viewing programs. When we have the programs, uh, at the back end, we know we put on our data access layer or the DAO object and the path, but then we have to think about, I stop and think, okay, but how the user going to reach this endpoint? At what stage and what flow do they need to go before they can reach this endpoint? Because of that, I need to stop for a while. I need to actually go to the front end and start building the front end until to the point where I find, okay, this is where I need the backend API. So the flow can be actually matched between the front end and the back end. Because if I just go with the back end and just keep moving with the route and path that I thought that might need it, uh, but it might not actually the case when I get to the front end. And what happened is if I actually hold, if I don't actually hold and actually continue back and finish first and then go to the front end, I ended up with refactoring the back end at the end. And to avoid that, that's how we try to keep the parity between the back end and the front end. We did came across that refactoring issues one time where I actually have post and put, but then when we go to the front end, we find out that actually the put the post endpoint can be used with the put instead. So post is no longer needed. That's um, that's why it is useful to have two development together, to see whether or not each makes sense uh, in the process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So you chose to build it feature by feature instead of completing just the back end fully or the front end fully and then realizing your problems. That's right.
True, true. That's very true because that's how I think we avoid uh, doing reworking everything, and we avoid feature creep. Like we want to um, say like we get overboard and put everything that we actually don't need it all at the front end, for example. But if we do it together, we can see which one's needed, which one's not. It all makes sense when we put it together because the system is at the end uh, going to be about um, the syncing or the integration of the front end and the back end.
Okay.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great answer.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think there's no more questions. Uh, yeah, so I think we can wrap up right now.
Oh, can I? Do I still have time to, or to just show you where you can find all this information? Yeah,
Yes.
just here on the screen, you can see if you want to help debug, please go to your local environment and test this app and live site app at the moment, even though the link is given, but we are facing issues with what I mentioned before, Heroku Dino limited capabilities. If you want to contribute, please go to the repositories and pick up any issues
Okay.
and look forward to work together with
You can
you.
share your slides on Zulip also, right?
That's right, that's right.
That people can click the links.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I think we can wrap up.
Thank you.
Um, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.